Hello and howdy. Scott, how are you, my man?
Doing well, Cece. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am doing good. Oh my goodness. Colorado hockey is booming right now.
It's a fun time for sure.
It is. It's all it's the postseason. It's the playoffs. And
This is what you play for. Yeah.
This is you play to win the game. Hello. What do? You play to win the game. Channeling my inner Herm there. Herm Edwards.
Herm Edwards. Okay. Yeah. I got you.
That's in the pantheon of one of the all-time great NFL coaches rants, right up there with
practice.
They were who we thought they were.
Oh.
We let them off the hook. If you want to crown their asses, then crown their asses.
I was thinking the practice line. I don't know who says that, but
that was Jim Mora.
Yeah.
Playoffs. Talking about playoffs.
Was he like the Colts head coach at the time?
That was the Colts head coach at the time.
Okay,
I think that was like early '90s when that was happening.
Nice.
When Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Colts,
and
not the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. I was about to say Niners, but that was a few years ago. But anyway, different sport. Sport.
Typical us. We
I know, right?
Always start off just with talking about a different sport or, whatever workout regimen we're going on or whatever we had for lunch. So I'd like to keep it light in the beginning, and then we can do the serious stuff soon. So
that's how we do it is we, put the fluff at the beginning and then we're all business.
Well, appetizer before the main course. Yeah,
absolutely. There you go. Appetizer before the main course. So, hey, that's Scott McDonald. I'm CC Hawkley. This is episode number 19. Joe Sakic. Joe Cool himself, episode number 19 of the Front Range Hockey Podcast. And it is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. And Scott, he's got an engagement tonight, an unexpected engagement. He got a text from his boss, Adrian Dater, and I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'm going to let him share on the program live and in color. Yeah, go for it.
Well, I mean, regular season games aren't hard to get into, as a credentialed media member. But when the playoffs started, it's, obviously everyone and their mom comes out of the woodwork, which, little side note, it's a little bit annoying, because you could be the boots on the ground guy all season long obviously we're not allowed to go to practices, but going to practices, getting on the Zooms daily after practice, even on optional skates, putting in the work on a day-to-day basis to be a beat writer for this team. And you're always guaranteed a spot during the regular season and in the press box because not that many people show up. And then, as soon as playoffs start, everything's exciting and, everyone comes out of the woodwork, and I'm not going to start throwing out news stations and whatnot, but, they get priority. They get to come to the games. The AP writers come out, just a bunch of people that you've never seen at a single game in the press box, are now occupying seats that normally you'd be able to occupy. So, the rules are, generally it's just one seat per outlet. And of course, Adrian Dater being the Colorado chapter chair of the PHWA, he gets priority. He has to go to all the games and all the practices. That's actually a fun fact about the role being in the Professional Hockey Writers Association. He gets priority. I don't usually get to go to any of the playoff games, but the Avalanche PR department hooked us up with another free spot today. So I will be attending game 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. I'm very excited to see it because I was watching on TV, obviously, game 1. And everyone was tweeting about how electric the atmosphere was and how loud it was and how it felt like it was packed when there's only 7,700 people there or whatever it was. But, it felt like a sold out crowd of like 20,000. So I'm excited to hear that and feel that and get those goosebumps. And, obviously wish you guys could all be there. And selfishly, I'm excited to go. So maybe I'll stop talking about it so much, but it's going to be a good time, and it's, of course, like I'm working, but it's fun to just be there and be part of the atmosphere. And it's the Stanley Cup playoffs. You can't ask for anything else, The
playoffs. We're talking about
playoffs.
Yeah. And
we are.
now we're melding Allen Iverson and his practice rant in there. Practice.
Oh yeah. That's practice. Right. Yeah. Okay.
But Jim Moore was playoffs, voice crack and everything. So,
yeah.
Well, yes, Scott, that is super exciting news. I'm so stoked for you, my man. And I get it. When I was covering the Idaho Steelheads over in Boise for a couple of years, like you said, you're the boots on the ground guy all season long. And then, you like my second season was a lot better. Like there was actually guys from news outlets that were there on a regular basis, because hell, it's amazing. One of the actual print publications gave a damn about minor pro hockey in Boise, Idaho. And so they actually sent the guy on a fairly regular basis. So imagine that. But no, I get it. Postseason comes around, the other media outlets come in, and it's just completely packed, especially, if a team is doing well, then it's like, oh, hey, we haven't been here all season, but yeah, X, Y, and Z. So I get it. I've been there. Maybe not on the same level as an NHL club, but you know, I've been there.
But, to a certain degree, it's like, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend, first of all, that like, I went to every single game, because I didn't. I only went to a handful of them. And, that's the whole thing with, me and Adrian Dater. We, kind of split duties 50-50, but, this is his full-time job. So he takes, 80% of the work, I would say. But yeah, just the point is, it's a little bit frustrating for those day-to-day boots on the ground guys that, we lose our spots sometimes to, the national outlets. But, on the other flip side of the spectrum, like, it's pretty cool, for you guys listening, and for, people that follow the Avalanche. Like, I mean, you guys are getting coverage from, not just the same stale sources and media members. You're getting, some national attention as well. And I know this is an area, I guess, a team, a market that's, rabid with a fan base that wants, more attention. So it's cool, to a degree, that we're getting all the coverage on a national level as well. It's not just us. So enjoy it, I guess, for the next few weeks. You'll get, different opinions and different sides of the story than, just what you've been listening to for the last year.
Game 2, Avs and Blues coming up. And first things first, I did want to bring this up. I know that obviously we're going to be talking about the Avalanche. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the Colorado Eagles. Lots of excitement in last night's game. Monday, May 18th, actually Tuesday, May 18th. It feels like a Monday because the week is drug on, or actually, I don't know. I don't know what day it is anymore, but
Me neither,
Tuesday, May 18th, Colorado Eagles had a game for the play-in round in the Pacific Division postseason, the only division in the AHL that's having a playoff of any sorts. But I wanted to give credit where credit is due, because there is another team in the Avalanche organization that is doing quite well, and that is the ECHL's Utah Grizzlies. And they deserve a little love. They've got, I want to say, let's count here, 4, 7. They've actually got 10 games left in the regular season. Their regular season ends June 5th against the Fort Wayne Comets. They host them in West Valley City for a 3-game set to close out the year. But man, the Grizzlies, they are on a 7-game winning streak. They are in the 4th and final playoff position currently in the Western Conference in the ECHL. And guy by the name, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, how about that Parker Gahagan guy?
There you go.
Were you trying to steal your thunder? My bad.
A little bit. That's okay. That's all right. The thunder, there's enough thunder to go around. So
True.
Parker Gahagan. How about that, Parker Gahagan? He's on my outline, but Scott's not looking at my outline. So it just goes to show we're vibing. We're on the same wavelength there. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, Parker Gahagan wins his second Goalie of the Week award, second consecutive Goalie of the Week award. It just goes to show how well he's doing in the ECHL this year. And I mean, like we've talked about on the program, Colorado Eagles, he's had a couple games up there. He's won both of them, and his goals against average is below 2, which is always good for a goaltender. His save percentage is 0.96, 0.97, 0.95. It's hovering around there, every game. And yeah, Parker Gahagan also showing out for the Grizzlies. So yeah, it's first things first, I wanted to give credit before we dove in to the playoff talk about the Avs and the Eagles. So Utah Grizzlies, tip of the cap to you. Well done. So, alrighty. First things first out of the way. Scott, game 1, Avalanche, Blues, Ball Arena, fans at the arena, like you said, about 7,700. And oh my God, to be, I mean, this game was just a microcosm of everything that we have talked about the Avs needing throughout the regular season to succeed in the postseason. And by God, did they bring it in spades.
Yeah. I mean, it started off a little bit rough there. I think,
sure.
I don't know. The Avs, they tend to do that a lot. I feel like the first period is not necessarily always their period, but they come out strong in the second, and that was kind of the case here in game one. Especially at home, you'd think they'd come out with a little bit more fire, but they were playing on their heels a little bit. St. Louis came out hard. Credit to them for that, but and then it all took a turn with your captain doing exactly what captains do, and dropping the gloves and beating the snot out of what's his face. So, and that that was like, yeah, something like that. And that was that was that's the turning point. Everyone after the game said that. They're like, Landy took us on his back and provided that surge. And someone asked him after the game too. It's like, was that a response to the hit? I think it was on Mikko Rantanen. And he's like, honestly, like, I didn't think it was a dirty hit. No, it wasn't really a response to that, but it's the playoffs and you want to stick up for your teammates always. But, that was just an opportunity for me to just, get the crowd involved and, get the team involved as well. Cause we started off slow. So he kind of admitted just dropping the gloves, to get the crowd pumped up and to get the team pumped up, and not necessarily retaliation at all. As anything, he was just, simply setting the tone, and it worked. It was all, smooth sailing from there. They played really, really well. Got, lost it a little bit throughout the game, but for the most part, dominated that top line, doing everything you want the top line to do. McKinnon, 2 goals, 3-point night. Landeskog obviously getting the Gordie Howe hat trick, so he had a goal and assist as well. And Cale Makar, your top defenseman too, getting in there. So, I don't know if you could ask for a better game. They played very, very well. Power play, penalty kill was all great. Obviously with the 5 or 10 minutes, the slow start there in the first period was you'd like to see better. You'd like them to see play a full 60 minutes, but for a very physical St. Louis Blues team that played exactly the way I think, the Avalanche and everyone thought they were going to play, which is super physical and, going for hits and, trying to take the top guys out of the game. That was about as good of a game you could ask for in response by the Avalanche. So we'll see. I'm expecting St. Louis to come out, tonight with some fire in their eyes, and it's a little bit tough, a little bit weird situation we went through today with the possible COVID positive cases, which ended up not being positive cases, but
yeah.
So Jordan Binnington didn't skate, Jaden Schwartz, Tarasenko, like all those, like some of your top guys were didn't skate, which maybe that rested them, and that's fine by them, but yeah, I mean, St. Louis has gone through a lot. I expect, them to come out with some tenacity. And, this is not a game that you want to allow St. Louis to win as they head into St. Louis for the next 2 games. That's what home ice advantage is for. You want to win all those games, and this might go down to 7. It's the kind of matchups they've played all season long against St. Louis. And, they're always been pretty close games, except for a couple of them, but it should be an interesting fight. And I expect, a lot of physicality tonight as well.
And the fact that, I named this episode before we started recording, I put it on YouTube. I named this episode, and I went with the name A Captain Who Fights. And it's not something that you see all the time at the NHL level. The captain is usually, one of your best goal scorers or one of your best playmakers. It's one of those guys. It's not a guy that's and Landeskog, you don't see him drop the gloves very often as it is. So he kind of caters to that stereotype of a captain who doesn't usually fight. But the fact that you said he knew that he needed to do that in order to hype up both his team and the crowd, like the crowd being a factor now, the crowd being a factor again, that's huge. It's huge. Oh, yeah. It's such a difference. It's such a different, energy running through the arena. And you can factor that back in now. Like now that we are getting vaccinated, now that people are, choosing to get vaccinated, and, it's starting to build up that immunity as a whole, at least here in the Denver area and hopefully in the nation more and more so as the days go on. It's it was crazy to hear the fans after the goals were scored. It was crazy to hear the fans during the Landeskog fight. It was just amazing. It was such, and I wanted to point this out, and I know you'll really appreciate it, but when the Avs were up 1-0 and I can't remember the Blues player, but they had a wide open net after a wraparound on Grubauer, and Grubauer was out of position. It was a wide open net. Ryan Graves saving a goal and just just poking that puck away with the stick, laying out for it, just being just going for it. Just it was an amazing and granted they did eventually score that game tying goal, but then the Avs would rattle off 2 more and then the empty netter from McKinnon. But that really stuck out to me. It's like we've talked on the show about Ryan Graves and the new role that he has taken on this season, and the fact that he contributed and he still can contribute at a big level no matter what pairing he's on. I think that's huge. That's such a big thing right there.
Yeah, no, that was a game changer of a play too. And Coach Bednar didn't give him too much credit, and this is something I didn't see, but I think a few people commented on it. After just like live tweeting the game, but I guess he was the one that turned it over, that led to that chance. And then he, obviously ended up covering his ass and saving that goal. But I didn't catch that, so I was giving him props all over Twitter for it. And I think a lot of people were, a lot of people missed it. But Coach Bednar after the game humbled him pretty quickly. He's like, yeah, it was a great save, but he's the one that caused it, so he better have saved it. Is essentially what he said. But yeah, I mean that's the kind of, back to your point, like that's the effort that you want to see. In playoff hockey, that's the intensity you want to see, guys laying their body on the lines. That's that hustle play that Ryan Graves showed right there, even though maybe it was his fault or wasn't his fault, doesn't matter. But, he saved a goal, and that's what you want. And you want to see guys going for the hits and defending their teammates, like Landeskog did, and, getting their teammates involved in the game. And, everything is elevated in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and rightfully so. These are what, all these guys have dreamed about since they were, 4 or 5 years old and just strapped on skates for the first time. So you made it, to the big stage, and you got 16 games to prove that you should hoist that Stanley Cup. For the Avs, they have 15 more, and yeah, that's what you expect. It's like bumps, bruises, those will come and go, and you do what you have to do to lift the Lord Stanley.
Game 2 is tonight, like you mentioned, and you get to go and you get to be there and you get to soak it all in, my man. It's gonna be such a great experience. I am looking forward to that myself. So my girlfriend came upon some Rockies tickets for Friday night, and I've never been to a Colorado Rockies game before.
Really?
Yes. So lived here about 2 years now. I've been to an Avs game. I've been to a Broncos game, been to a few Mammoth games, never been to a Rockies game, never been to a Nuggets game, or at least not in Ball Arena. I have been to a Nuggets game at McNichols Sports Arena back in the day. Yeah. Yep. Jazz and Nuggets when John Stockton was playing. I'm a Utah Jazz fan. I think I've said that on the program before, because I grew up in Salt Lake City, Stockton Malone years. We'll move on. Please forgive me, atoning for my sins right now. But, but yes, like to be able to go to that Rockies game, to experience the atmosphere of a ballpark and fans and everything. But there's something about a hockey game. There's to be, the smell of the beer and the food and the ice. Like going to the Eagles games without a crowd, it was sterile. Like you didn't have those food smells. You didn't have the intermingling in the olfactory, as it were. And it's just like, something was missing. But I mean, it was live hockey. You were covering the game, but like there's something, it wasn't stimulating the senses as it normally did. And it was just, I'm really stoked for you, as you can tell, and really looking forward to you being able to partake in that environment. And kind of a pleasant surprise for you to spend your evening that way.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. You kind of just touched on a point that we'll talk about when we answer some questions here at the end. But I think Teddy asked it, like what's the biggest difference between covering, a sport during a pandemic versus, any other year that I've been doing this. And it's huge, it's a lot less fun, and you can attest to it as well. Like, yeah, you're covering the game. We're doing what we love to do. And, we get to watch when, no one else really gets to watch live and in person. And that's pretty cool. It's a great opportunity, but also, I mean, it's like watching a practice, I've seen so many of those over my days, and it's like, it's not exciting. And really a lot of it is, it's the atmosphere, it's the experience. It's, getting all the senses involved, and not just, the sense of sight. Like I want to hear like the loud noises. I want to hear the crowd. I want to smell the beer and the shitty hot dogs and nachos and whatever it is. Like I want to be walking amongst the crowds trying to make my way to the press box before the game starts, or like in between intermissions, whatever it is. It's fun. It's exciting, and it is different. But we'll get to that a little bit. But yeah, it's awesome that everyone's back, and I'm glad they worked something out where they essentially doubled the amount of fans allowed in. And I know a lot of NHL teams have been doing that. So it's cool. It feels like a little bit of normalcy is back in our lives. And a lot of places, I went to the gym and I'm vaccinated, so I don't have to wear a mask anymore. It's not a requirement. So going to the gym the past couple of days and not wearing a mask is just like, it's an emotional experience. I know a lot of people,
Sure.
And just like in general, just walk anywhere, like going anywhere and not really necessarily having to wear a mask is awesome. Like it feels like we're starting to get back to the old ways, and it couldn't have happened at a better time for Avs fans that get to take part in this now, and for the team obviously that get to have their fans back at home. And it's just it's a relief, and we deserve this, as a fan base and as a community and as a people in general all around the world. Like we had a shitty year and a half, like a very, very shitty year and a half. And, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're starting to see it, and it's great. It feels good. And just to have this all happening, as soon as the Stanley Cup playoffs start is just, the cherry on top.
Absolutely. Yeah. That game is at 8:30 tonight, Mountain Daylight Time. And yes, you wrapped it up very nicely. It's a nice little gift, especially now that we're having a postseason. And we got Alavimo popping in. Thank God.
Thank God. Right, I'm with you, Alavimo. Yeah.
That is Alexandra Ackerman. Sinbin Crunch covers the Syracuse Crunch for the Sinbin.net. So thanks for chiming in there. Yeah, she's ready to cover some games. She's ready to watch some games for up there in upstate New York and Syracuse. So yes, thanks for chiming in, Alex. And oh my God, yeah, we are so ready for this. And speaking of which, we're talking about postseason. We're talking about Colorado hockey. Let's talk about the Colorado Eagles. Okay, I will admit, I did not pick the Eagles to make it past the first game of the play-in round. I did not. I didn't. They've lost. No, they're 2-5-1 in their last 7 games. Ontario had been streaking well, 7 of 8, 7 of their last 8 games, and 2-5-1 in their last 8 games. So that's what the 8-game finale for both teams looked like. Ontario had all of their players back. They had, Quentin Byfield back from the LA Kings. Since they didn't make the playoffs, they had all of their AHL Black Aces that were on the taxi squad or even on the regular season squad. They were back. And so the Reign were loaded. And so I thought, well, Magna, Kiefer Sherwood, Liam O'Brien, all these guys, Jacob McDonald, Dennis Gilbert, all these guys, forwards, defensemen. I want to say 4 forwards and 4 defensemen that have logged time with the Eagles this season were up with the Avalanche. I'm like, the Eagles don't stand a chance. The Eagles, by God, they did it. They friggin' pulled it off. Almost said a bad word. Yeah, they fought for sure. And the thing was, Keaton Middleton had not scored a goal all season long. He pots 2 in this game and contributes an assist. He really wanted to play his former team, the San Jose Barracuda, who qualified earlier in the day to go to the play-in final against, they defeated the Tucson Roadrunners 2-1 earlier in the day. The Eagles, they started at 8:30 as the Avs game is tonight, but they started at 8:30 last night, Tuesday night, May 18th. And like I said, Keaton Middleton, he scored 2 goals. He opened up scoring. He scores a shorthanded goal to tie the game at 4-4 in the third period. It's like the Eagles were ahead. Actually, I take that back. The Eagles were behind. I'm sorry. This game was just all over the place. So I'm all over the place. The Eagles were behind 2-1 after the first period. They were ahead after a TJ Tynan goal and a Riley Woods goal after the second period. And I think they only had 1 win all year long when they were behind after the first, but then they were like, I want to say 10-0-1 when they were leading after the second. So it's like you have this dichotomy of stats, and it's like, which one are they going to choose? And then overtime, like both teams had only won twice in regular or in the overtime period itself, not the shootout. So before I ramble on too long, I will say, you know, man, it was a little like the Reign are a fast team, and if they beat you on the rush, then they're gonna make you pay for it, and they're gonna knock you on your ass, and they're gonna put the puck in the back of the net. That's what happened in the third period. So the Eagles going into the third period, like I said, with a 3-2 lead, and yeah, Mikey Asamont, not ass.
Get your head out of the gutter, CC.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know. Sorry. I don't mean to be the butt end of poor pronunciation.
Heyo.
Here, hey-o. Mikey Asamont, the Lakewood, Colorado native, potting a goal. And it was on the power play. Or no, it was a shorthanded goal. I apologize. The Martin Furk goal after that was on the power play. So 2 special teams goals for the Reign. And they did it with speed. Like they were all alone. They beat Werner. And I believe they were both from the left wing circle, so, or at least on the left wing side of things. So you had that, and then Keaton Middleton goes, and yeah, he scores a shorthanded goal himself at 11:13 of the third. And in overtime, Justin Barron, the rookie, oh my goodness, rushing in 2-on-1 with Mika Salamaki rather. And Sean and I have watched a lot of times where AHL guys are hesitant when they have a clear lane and a clear path to the goaltender, and they flub it up, they pass it, they go for the Royal Road pass. But no, Justin Barron, he had the confidence to put that puck on net, and then right over Matthew Villalta's right shoulder. Game, set, match. Colorado playing in the play-in final tonight against the San Jose Barracuda. And like I said, Keaton Middleton, maybe a little motivation to play not only against his former team from last year, but against his brother who is on the San Jose Barracuda. So nice. That is going to be fun. By the way, Nicholas Malash, does that name ring a bell?
Sure does.
Yep, he is on the Barracuda as well. So it'll be a nice little reunion for at least the Eagles that were on the team last year when he got traded for Antoine Bibeau. Well, 2 years ago now. God, it's been a long time. Bibeau didn't really have a whole lot of time with the Eagles because he got hurt.
He played 1 or 2 games, and that was it. Like out for the year.
He got a game with the Avalanche too. That was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but Bibeau was on the Chicago Wolves this year, so yeah, that worked out pretty well for him. The Wolves are a quality organization. I digress. Eagles 5-4 victory in overtime. I went to bed about midnight, got up for 5 a.m. for the day job. I'm tired. I'm going to be tired again tonight because we're going to try and get Kevin Lacey from Teal Town, USA, me and Sean. We're going to talk with him for a brief little, preview episode there. And then got the game at 8 p.m. Mountain. And Eagles, San Jose, the winner, the proper 4 seed in the Pacific Division tournament, the divisional semifinal against the Henderson Silver Knights, who also have the uphill struggle of not having all of their top guys with the team because of Vegas and their expanded playoff roster. So take a breath.
That was a lot to cover.
That was a lot to cover, and I didn't mean to jeopardize that or to monopolize, not jeopardize. I hope I'm not jeopardizing it either, but but I didn't mean to monopolize it. And Scott, you had some great things to say about the former Halifax Mooseheads defenseman in Justin Barron.
Yeah, I mean, it rains and pours, right? The wealth of talent that the Avalanche have. Like another guy that I wasn't expecting to, play at all, just like Alex Newhook for the Eagles. Right. And I mean, he stepped right in, has looked great. What does he have? Like 2 goals, 7 points in his first 8 games, including, the game winner in overtime last night. Damn near popped the bottle to seal the deal for the Eagles. And I mean, by all accounts, the kid looks great. And like, it's just laughable now at this point. It's like, what do you do? Like, if you're Joe Sakic, like, it's awesome. It's a good problem to have, like we said so many times, but that Justin Barron kid is coming up the pipeline quicker than, anyone thought, I think. And he's just 19 and he's a guy that might, could possibly push for a roster spot next season, competing with a guy like, Connor Timmins or, there should be a spot available, possibly 2 spots next year, depending on if Eric Johnson stays or the Avs buy him out or he goes to Seattle, whatever it might be. So
Right.
it's the blue line looks great. Yeah. And it's, it starts with obviously like Bo Byram, even like that's a guy we haven't really seen too much this season because of his unfortunate concussion issues, I think. But I mean, he should be good to go by beginning of next season. And then you got a guy like Justin Barron who's also pushing, and it's incredible what Joe Sakic's done in the last, 3 or 4 years alone to build up this depth and turn this team from a 48-point worst season in modern NHL history in 2016-17 to, competing for the Stanley Cups and all 4 years since that happened. So, it's a credit to Jared Bednar, who continues to not get any love for the Jack Adams Coach of the Year award.
Right.
It's an FU to Joe Sakic, who gets slighted on the GM of the Year awards every year. And, this might be the year. Who knows? We'll see what happens at the end of the season. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible work by the organization. And there's nothing else to say there.
Wrap it up in a nice little bow. I know I bring it up every time because of just how abysmal the Eagles power play was at the beginning of the season. By the way, before Ryan Tobler's departure, I crunched some numbers. My most recent article for Full Press Hockey detailed the Eagles power play. I went back game by game and crunched the numbers. And under Ryan Tobler, before his departure on March 4th, 2 for 34 on the power play. Ouch. Dead last in the AHL. And then in comes Brett Clark, 21 for 70. They finish 6th in the AHL on the power play and 6th in the AHL on the PK. Although last night you couldn't have told because they let in there was 3 power play goals and 2 shorthanded goals between the two teams out of the 9 goals. 5 of the 9 goals were special teams goals from last night from the Eagles and the Reigns. So it's just like, oh, hell, we're not going to play special teams, and it was unfortunate, but I'm not going to dwell on the negative. I could say, oh, I saw so-and-so out of position and, X and Y. And Z,
they won the damn game. That's all that matters.
They won the damn game. Exactly.
Analytics be damned,
Analytics be damned. Exactly. So, well, hey, that's the Avs. That's the Eagles. Are you ready to talk a little Colorado collegiate hockey? I do have some news. I dug up a good amount of news today. So yeah. I figured we could get to that sooner than later before we got to
you have some Air Force news that you're excited about. So
yeah, absolutely. But first we'll go DU, CC, and Air Force Academy. Not really north to south because the Air Force Academy is before CC, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Denver University Pioneers alum Trevor Moore nominated for the King Clancy Award for community service for the LA Kings. What a good nod for him. Always good to see DU, CC, Air Force Academy alum. Yeah, given to the player that best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and has made a significant humanitarian contribution to his community. So congratulations to Denver University alum Trevor Moore. Good for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So there's that. And of course, on the other side of the coin, you've got guys departing the team, unfortunately. And that's been a common thing with Denver, as we've highlighted. It's been a common thing with Colorado College, especially after the coaching change down there. But yes, so Denver, they gained a couple of Finnish players in Mikko Matika and Samu Salminen, but Jaakko Heikkinen is off. He is leaving the team. He left the team on May 9th, and he is going to a team in Liga called KOO Cuckoo. So Cuckoo. He's out.
Yeah,
he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
That was another thing we were worried about, The Pioneers have lost quite a few good players, and that was another really, 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 really good, player for them. And unfortunately he's leaving, but obviously it's probably a better opportunity for him. Liga is the highest level of play in Finland, so good for him, I guess. But again, it's tough for the college, that's for sure, and it's gonna be maybe an ugly year next year, but that's okay. Everyone has their down times. It's always darkest before the dawn, as they say.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very Very, very well said, my friend. Yes. So, I mean, it was an odd year as it was this season. And so, yeah, it might take a year or two for things to get back to normal for the Denver University men's hockey program, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. So we'll keep covering the off season, of course. And next up, Colorado College, and they add to their coaching staff. This one actually has a DU tie in there as well. So former 4-year Pios goaltender from 04 to 08. He was a former assistant coach with Omaha, University of Nebraska, Omaha, and Miami, Ohio, was an associate there. Most recently, he was the head coach of the USHL's Des Moines Buccaneers. 2 years he was head coach there. Peter Menino joins Colorado College's hockey staff as an assistant coach, and he had quite a goaltending career. He played for a number of NHL, AHL, and ECHL teams. He played for the Islanders, the Atlanta Thrashers, and the Winnipeg Jets up to the NHL level. Too many AHL teams to count. Too many ECHL teams to count. I will point out he did play for the Utah Grizzlies back in 08, 09. So nice little local tie there, of course. But Scott, I know you weren't a big ECHL guy, but do you remember 1 year, 2011, 2012, the one-off franchise, the Chicago Express? Do you remember them?
No, I do not at all. Yeah, I was
Come on,
definitely not following. I was not following the ECHL then.
The ECHL.
Oh yeah, so that was not my thing then. I was fully into the NHL experience at that time, and kind of the Eagles took a bit of a backseat at that point. And yeah, never really been super big into the ECHL. Obviously, followed a little bit when the Eagles were there, and followed a lot more when they were winning the championships there back to back. But yeah, I don't remember that one-off team at all.
That's fair. That is completely fair. They were there 1 minute, gone the next. They were the San Francisco Bulls of the East, because the San Francisco Bulls, I went to a Steelheads versus Bulls game, and they only played, I think they actually played like 1.5 seasons. The Bulls did in like 2012. And then they suspended operations mid-season. Yeah. You haven't seen that lately, but I mean, back in the day, it was common. If a team wasn't doing well, and they, up mid-season, oh, sorry guys, we got to suspend. We'll disperse our players. So anyway, Chicago Express, 2011, 2012, one and done, 1 year and done. Menino played 22 games for that ill-fated franchise. So the journeyman in goal, is now going to be on the coaching staff for the Colorado College Tigers. So, and like I said, a little DU tie there as well. So yeah. In news for players, we talked about Zach Bertola, former Colorado College captain, getting an amateur tryout with the Hartford Wolfpack. Did not skate in the Atlantic Division up with Hartford this year, but he signed with the Florida Everblades in the ECHL on May 6th. That kind of fell through the cracks. He's played 6 games, no points yet, but hey, 20 PIMs, 20 penalty minutes. So, he's throwing fisticuffs down there. So Zach Bertola, yeah, Florida is in first place in the Eastern Conference in the ECHL. So that's a good landing spot for the former CC captain, not CC Hawkley, but CCS Colorado College. Didn't want to cause any confusion there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last but not least, former Boston College former Danny Waite joins the Tigers program on May 11th. And 1 goal, 1 assist, and 11 games played for the Eagles in 2020-21. Might have been looking for a better opportunity to get some more ice time, I'm guessing, at least by that stat line. And looking at just looking at that, that's just it's just what it was. Not too much to report on that. I thought I had more, but I didn't. So
that's okay.
Last but not least, the Air Force Academy Falcons. And I retweeted this. I saw it on there. They announced the commitment of left winger Sean Bunting. No relation, at least not that I could tell, to Tucson Roadrunners / Arizona Coyotes prospect Michael Bunting, but Sean Bunting joining Air Force Academy on Monday, May 17th, 6'1", 193 pounds. He's played in 3 different juniors leagues in the past 3 seasons. Played with Sioux City in the USHL, the Langley Rivermen in the BCHL, and the Shreveport Mudbugs over in the NAHL. You got to love that name, don't you? Shreveport Mudbugs.
Was that the old CHL team back in the day?
It was. Yes, it was. Good memory. Good
I
memory.
remember
'Cause,
that.
didn't
Yeah,
they
from the early
didn't
like Colorado Eagles CHL
I was gonna
days.
say, didn't the Colorado play Shreveport in the final one year?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't know about that, but I just remember like them being. And there's a couple teams that still, are like defunct. The CHL is obviously defunct now, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's like the Thunder still playing. I think it was like the Wichita Thunder back in the day. I think they're in a
Yep.
different league now, and
They're in the ECHL now. That's correct.
yeah, team in
Allen
Tulsa, I think.
Americans,
Allen
Tulsa
Americans.
Oilers. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of the CHL teams jumped over. I want to say 6 jumped over to the ECHL, or at least they were granted expansion franchises, if you
Okay.
want to get technical with the ECHL top brass. But yeah, it's always comical how they insist on, well, it wasn't a merger. It wasn't a merger. We granted them expansion franchises. Oh, okay. But let's see here. The Bossier Shreveport Mudbugs. Yep. The Eagles lost to the Mudbugs in 2010, 2011 in the CHL finals, the last year they were in the Central Hockey League. So
Wow.
little tie in there. Look at that.
There you go. Wow.
Hockey's small, but this Sean Bunting guy, like you look at his stats in his most recent season, 54 games played with Shreveport, 10 goals, 14 assists for 24 points, 102 penalty minutes. So you got yourself a scrapper there for the Air Force Academy Falcons. And yeah, that is the Colorado Collegiate News.
The
Ready
more
to
you
ask
know.
the feed? The more you know. There you go.
I'm
Yes,
so ready.
and
This is my favorite
all
segment.
right.
You know that.
Oh, always love talking to the people. We are men of the people. Let's do it. So first and foremost, Durf Zuki, Fred,
boy.
yay, our boy. Do you expect a roster change once the Avs travel to St. Louis? On a personal feeling, I expect the Blues to come way harder tonight. That's Wednesday, May 19th. I hope the Avs step it up a notch and limit their defensive errors and stay out of the box. Yes. And BK
Wow.
Wilmore chimed in. Sorry, hang on. And skate well enough to avoid the hits that will be coming out way. Quote, please don't get hurt, end quote.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I think we can all agree on that. But
yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
no, I mean, I fully expect them to come out very hard. Like I said it a little bit earlier, and they're going to do that. That's their game. The Avs play fast and skilled, and really the only way to contain that is to knock them on their ass. And that's going to be the game plan for any team the Avalanche play moving forward. They know it's kind of a weak point for Colorado is their physicality. It's something we've talked about for the last 2 to 3 postseasons. If they maybe had a bigger guy that could stick up to some of these big boys, to the Shins or the Ryan Reeves, or these guys that really elevate their play throughout the season, but also in the playoffs they just play like demons. They're going to go after all your top guys, and they're not even looking for the puck. They're looking for the body. So yeah, fully expect them to come out hard, and they're probably a little pissed off. They're going to let some of that those tensions that boiled over there at the end of the third period in game 1, it's probably going to boil right on over to game 2 and 3, 4, however many games there will be. I fully expect it to be a very physical matchup. And to answer your question, like I do think they'll change the lineup maybe a little bit when they go to Seattle. I think the plan is to kind of move Alex Newhook and Carl Soderberg around, kind of just based on the matchup and what they need on any given night. But if they want to go for the physical side of things, I think they insert Carl Soderberg into the lineup. Bowen Byram is also healthy now and is ready. He's available, ready to play whenever Coach Bednar gives him the okay. Obviously, they probably want to give him a lot more practices. There's a chance maybe he could, if the Eagles are still playing, he could go play for the Eagles. I think that was the plan, to get him back into game shape. But I'm sure we'll see Bowen Byram in the postseason. But yeah, they'll change those guys interchangeably, in and out of the lineup based on matchups. And if the Avs make it past this first round, you're going to want to come to Vegas pretty hard, and you're going to go with a very physical matchup for that. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked if we see a Liam O'Brien, insert into the lineup. He's on the taxi squad for a reason. And he's a guy that, you could swap in Newhook for, if you want to, again, stack up against those Ryan Reeves kind of characters, that's what you'll do. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see plenty of roster changes for sure. Tonight they're rolling with the same lineup, but yeah, when they go into St. Louis, who knows? They might want to bring some big bodies with them.
Yeah, can't hurt. Definitely can't hurt, especially when things get physical in the postseason. We talked about that against Dallas, the Avs against Dallas last year. So definitely don't want to run into an Alexiak situation once again, for sure. So thank you, Fred. Thank you, Durf Zuki, always with the good questions. Appreciate it, bud. Next question, like you mentioned, from Teddy, TJ Tracy 92 on the Twitters. TJ was saying, what's it like being a reporter in the quarantine area? Is the vibe different than before? And we kind of covered that, but we'll elaborate a little more.
Yeah, no, it's not fun, TJ. It's not. I mean, again, it is cool. That sounds like very selfish of me to like say that I get to go to games or whatever when no one else can. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that would, switch positions with me in a heartbeat. But, you want to be there for the same reason the fans want to be there. It's the atmosphere. It's the vibe. It's just being around the team. It's a lot more fun. And the players will tell you the same thing. Like, obviously this is their passion. They're playing the game of hockey. It's a great time, but each and every one of those guys in the locker room tell you this sucks. Like, it's not fun. It's a lot more fun to play when there's, that motivation, that sixth man, whatever you want to call them, of, the crowd. And it's fun. It's an emotional game. And at the end of the day, it's an entertainment industry. It's sports. They play to sell tickets, and you like to have adoring fans. And when they're not there, it loses its luster a little bit. And it's the same for us media to a lesser degree, obviously. Yeah, it's not fun not being able to go to the locker room and experience that, and hearing the little side conversations that you hear in the locker room, some of the dirt that's spilled. That's always, a good time. And being able to shake hands with the players and kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about, and not just have to like raise your hand on Zoom and you get one question per day or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of different things going on. And, I think media has taken a hit. And I think media coverage has taken a hit because of it. You don't get those, personal features anymore, those human interest stories, not as much, because you can't have those, one-on-one intimate conversations with the players in the locker room anymore. Everything is, recorded and done live on air, or, done on Zoom, where all your fellow media members and, they post the videos on the website too. So everyone hears it. Everyone hears your question. Everyone hears what angle you're going for. So it's tough. It's tough to get any sort of exclusive content. So it kind of sucks. You feel like everything's kind of cookie cutter, because, again, everyone has the same quotes that you had. It doesn't matter if you ask the question, everyone has that audio and they can use that however they will. I don't own exclusive rights to that question or that answer. Right. So yeah, there's a lot different about it. The vibe for sure is different. It's less, less exciting, a little bit less fun. And yeah, I think the content takes a hit as well, because quotes, those, again, the exclusivity is gone, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, 100%, coming on to a Zoom call with, Eagles coach Greg Cronin, to do that, and to be in the arena parking lot on a Zoom call when the coach is down in the, in the bowels of the arena. It's just, it's just a very weird feeling, very strange. Although when the Eagles were on the road against Texas, I'm like, okay, Texas did lose, and I know Greg Cronin's not going to be available. So let me talk to my old beat, coached the Idaho Steelheads for a number of years while I was still there. Neil Graham, now coaching the Texas Stars, got to talk to him on a Zoom call. But that's another thing, is that the guy whose beat that is, I forget, man, I am spacing on his name, but he does 100-degree hockey, and he's done it for a number of years. Okay. on Twitter there. He covers the Texas Stars. And he had first dibs, and he stole all my questions.
That's the other thing too. Yeah.
Yep. And it's like, damn it. And so I'm like, when it came to me, it's like, hi, Coach Graham.
Enjoy the weather. Yeah.
How's Texas? How's the family? How's the kids? It's like, yeah, it was kind of like and he had just lost the game. So I know that sometimes there is a propensity for any coach to be a little on edge after a loss and not wanting to discuss certain topics. But anyway, yeah, the atmosphere of the arena, the setups of the Zoom calls, it was definitely a different experience. So TJ, thank you very much for the question. We appreciate it. Always, it has been contributing for the past few weeks consistently. So appreciate that, Teddy. All right. Time for the Joestian questions, because Scott started a riot on Twitter about Tyson Jost. He brought up a really good question about who the most polarizing Avalanche player was, and Martin Skula's name came up. Tyson Jost, Matt Duchene was another name that got floated out there. But
Tyson Barrie, Brad May.
Tyson,
there's a lot of good ones. But
see, that's the thing I like about you on Twitter, Scott, is that when you have moments like these where it's like, oh, people are, there's a number of questions. There's a couple of questions coming up that are very Tyson Jost centered. I mean, they are Tyson Jost questions. So, but the fact that you can spin that and generate, productive and positive conversation, I thought that was great. I'm like, oh, yeah. Look at what's turning here. And you were kind of joking about it at first with the poll. You're like, who's the most polarizing player in Avalanche history? And you're like, Tyson Jost, number 7 currently on the Avs, and
they were all Tyson. Yeah.
Jost, exactly. They were all Tyson Jost, but you're like, then people started chiming in the other ones, and you're like, oh, I'm going to post another one. And you got some votes on that as well. So anyway, that's the lead in for this question. Guess what? Are you a card-carrying member of the Tyson Jost Lookalike Club, or just a big fan from Forsbergaholic at Focovi or Focovi? Focovi. So there you go. Are you a card-carrying member of the Tyson Jost Lookalike Club?
I mean, I'll take that as a compliment. He's a handsome-looking guy, and he's a heartthrob to a lot of the ladies and guys. So. Mm-hmm. I'll take that. I'll take that as a compliment. But no, I mean, okay. So for context, let's revisit this before we get into Tyson Jost shit. CC, I know he knows my take on Tyson Jost, and a lot of people on Twitter do. Look, I've never liked Tyson Jost before this season. The past 3 years, I think he's been a waste of a roster spot. He has done nothing productive for the team. Has kind of just been, there's been times where he's getting sent down to the Eagles. He's just not been a great player, and I think the team took a hit because of it. I think there was better options. That could have been when you give Martin Kaut a chance or whatever, like for that conglomerate of people that feel that way. I just thought there were better options out there, and I just never appreciated Tyson Jost and what he brought to the team. This year, things change. You talk to Coach Bednar, he'll tell you he's playing the best hockey of his career, and I agree. I think a lot of people would agree. He's playing unreal. He's become he was drafted 10th overall, which I think a lot of people hang their hats on as like, this guy should be an elite offensive threat, and like he should be scoring goals like he was. He was a one-time BCHL and CJHL MVP for scoring 42 goals and like 102 points in like 40 games. So did the same thing, played 1 year at North Dakota and, put up like 38 points in 36 games or something crazy like that. Like he was over a point a game per player for a few years, and the Avalanche drafted him highly because of it, and it just never translated. And I always felt like maybe they rushed him a little bit out of college. He could have used another year, which I think, again, the Avalanche might have learned their lesson from Tyson Jost. They let Cale Makar stay for an extra year. I mean, goddamn, look at him. Alex Newhook, played 2 seasons. Sample Ranta played 3. And you're starting to see these guys that are coming that are more well prepared to play, at the pro hockey level now. But I think they rushed Tyson Jost, and I'll maintain that position. So I thought they kind of ruined him, and I thought he was trade bait. I thought he was going to Seattle for sure. I was ready for that to happen. I was like, good, see ya. We got other guys coming up the pipeline like Alex Newhook that can take his spot easily. Again, things changed this year. Opinions change. That's the whole cool thing about opinions, is everyone has them, and everyone can change them if they want to. And absolutely. I was a big Jost hater, but this season, like, he's morphed into one of the best defensive players in the entire NHL. As far as analytics numbers, if you're in that, the dude fucking hustles. The dude works hard every single shift. He's a small guy. But that's okay. He gets work done with his stick. He's become one of the most reliable penalty killers on the Avs roster, is playing the most minutes of any forward. I think he's just like a second behind Pierre-Edouard Bellemare for the most, forward shorthanded minutes. And he's shown a lot. The coaching staff trusts him. At one point, he slotted in as the center on the top line for Nathan freaking McKinnon. The dude's been all over the place. He's played every single position. He's put in the work. I think we're finally starting to see it come to fruition. He took a chance on himself and, took a 1 year deal as a restricted free agent in the offseason. hoping he'd have a year like he did this year. And he's, told us media that was kind of his plan. He's like, I think I'm a better player. I think I needed one more shot. So I signed a 1 year and I'm going to go out there and prove it this year. And boy, has he proved it.
Hot damn, has he?
And I don't know why there's like so much hate. And it's like, I got people blocking me on Twitter for the last 3 years for hating on Jost because I thought he was trash. I think a lot of people did. And then now, I've posted 3, maybe 4 stories all season long on Tyson Jost, 2 of which happen to be, in the last 2 weeks. So I think a lot of people that are, new to the club, new to following me or whatever, just think I'm a Tyson Jost stan and I'm his biggest fan. And we had fun on Twitter because I posted a story yesterday about how he deserved more credit than, the story of game 1 was Landeskog's leadership and that Gordie Howe hat trick, McKinnon, of course, doing McKinnon things, Cale Makar, like all your top guys scoring. But it's like, if you watch the game closely, Tyson Jost was arguably the third best player out there, on the ice, and just never gets the credit that I think he deserves. And you ask any of the guys on the team, they'll tell you he's improved so much. You ask the coach, he's got all the trust in the world in Tyson Jost. And, I'm going to report on things that I see. That's what I get paid to do. And that's, I like to have different takes and different opinions and see the game in a different light. Like, I think game recaps are boring and everyone's going to talk about, Cale Makar and all your big 3 guys up front. But it's like, let's, give credit where credit's due. And Tyson Jost, I took that opportunity to say like, look, he was analytics. I threw some stats in there. He was one of the best players on the ice during game 1, analytics wise, right behind Mikko Renton and Nathan McKinnon. Played very well on the penalty kill as he always does, was responsible in the defensive zone. And then took that opportunity to also kind of just like, say I was wrong about him like the whole time. And maybe I have been all along. And I know a lot of people, that read that, or a lot of people listening right now probably had the same opinion I did, that Tyson Jost was not a good player over the last 3 years. But, I've changed my mind. I think he's great. He's done it consistently is the thing. It's like, yeah, everyone has like a good game and that's what everyone attacks me about. It's like, wow, yeah, he's had like 1 or 2 games. He still only scored like 6 or 7 goals. Like, I don't give a shit about the goals. The Avalanche don't need the goals. And I made this point in the column I posted that everyone's talking about was, on a team that's the best offensive team in the NHL this past season and has been, a top 5 offensive firepower team over the last 4 years combined. They don't need goals. Goals would be nice, no shit. But, what the Avs need a well-rounded team, and Tyson Jost is the best defensive forward on the team right there with, Val Nichushkin. And that's huge and that's key, and it never gets recognized as such. And it should be, and I'll take all the hate, unfollow me. I love it. Let's, I'm going to keep saying my opinions. Twitter's free, so if you don't like it, you can go follow someone else, that agrees with your opinions. But, I strongly encourage you to, I don't know, think outside the box and look at, some of his play and just focus on him for a few shifts and not, the exciting players. And you'll see that he's, a very, very good player, a very responsible player. And yeah, rant over. Anyway, yeah, that's
sorry. And don't let Scott live rent free up here. That's what I'm saying. Because just expand your mind, be open minded.
Yeah,
and yeah. But
again, so all right, that's enough. I can keep going on, but yeah, that went on for far too long.
No,
sorry,
you're good.
guys.
You're good.
Apologies, everyone listening to this, but I hope I got my point across.
I think you did a little bit. We've got another comment, and it's from our logo creator himself, JV1473. Justin, yo, I hope all goes well for the playoffs. Great job as always, boys.
Great job on the logo, my man.
Thank you, bud. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So there you go. And then, yes. Yeah, always appreciate Justin popping in and saying hi. So thanks, Justin. Let's see. Next question. This is second to last question. And of course, I'm laughing to myself because is Tyson Jost a future Hall of Famer? Gary Thurner at Gary Thurner.
Yeah.
I'm going to say right now, no.
No, and that's okay. He doesn't need to be. That's the point. So, and that was just him. Yeah, we're good friends on Twitter, so that was just him poking fun at me. Yep. It's all good.
And you responded with "lol." You gave him the old LOL.
I was like, we've been engaging all day long about it, so I was like, I'm just gonna, just let it go.
Yep. Oh yeah, of course. Last question. We started with a Durf-Zuki question. We're ending with a Durf-Zuki question from Fred. CC Hockey tagged me. He tagged me and said, how about Barron's performance and the Eagles in the playoffs? This is a great time for Avs and Eagles fans. And then the little smiley face with the shades. Future's so bright. You got to wear shades. I love it. Love it. So, I mean, Barron coming up huge when he needs to. I mean, that's such as a defenseman, he's not like he's not an offensive defenseman by any means. He's definitely more of a two-way defenseman, but he has that scoring upside. And we witnessed that last night when he scored that overtime game-winning goal. And my God, did he just risk that thing? He just honed in. It was just him and Bill. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Keaton Middleton did pop the water bottle to tie the game in the third. I'm like, popping bottles. I put it on Twitter.
I love that. I love it.
But yeah, I mean, Justin Barron, I mean, another defenseman that you can look forward to maybe utilizing in the future for the Avalanche. And if not, top pairing guy for the Eagles. I mean, why not give him a little seasoning, give him a little time down in the AHL, and what the hell? I mean, you'll have a great young defensive core, Gerard, Makar, Bowen Byram when he's healthy. I mean, Ryan Graves, you bring Justin Barron. I mean, my God, this is
stacked.
It's stacked. It's promising. It's encouraging. So, I mean, what else is there to say? And I mean, Justin Barron, I mean, you kind of extolled his virtues a little bit earlier as well. He's contributing right off the bat. He's pulling off what Alex Newhook did. And Sampo Ranta to a certain degree. I mean, those three guys, you put them on the Eagles and they start contributing immediately, whether on the special teams. I mean, you had Newhook and Ranta on the first power play unit. It was just, super impressive with these young guys and these young prospects. And Jean-Luc Foudy continues to work out the kinks in his game, and he looks better every game. And so, that's all I have to say. I mean, we've already covered
Pipeline's loaded. Yeah.
Pipeline's loaded. Barron's doing well.
We say it pretty much every single podcast. Like it's laughable now at this point. the team that they've built in just like such a short amount of time, and it's incredible asset management, obviously incredible trading and wheeling and dealing on Joe Sakic's behalf. And it's become a meme across the internet about how you don't answer the phone when Joe Sakic calls because he's definitely going to screw you over. With some bargain of a deal that's going to steal your best players. But it's true. I mean, he
is Mr. Steal Your Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Here he comes, coming to steal your hockey player. He's coming to steal your man.
I mean, so he's my GM of the year. Obviously, I'm biased, to a certain degree, but I think just over the last, 3 or 4 years, what he's done is incredible. And he, I think he was a finalist at one point over the last season or the year before that. I don't know, but he deserves to win, I think. And same with, I think, even to a larger degree. I would take, Jack Adams for Coach Bednar before I would, I guess obviously you have to give it to Sakic because he's the one that built the team. But
right,
from surviving that first season, his first year, on the job, having the worst year in franchise history and the worst year in modern NHL history, and convincing the staff to keep him on and turn this team around. He's got all the respect of the locker room, and the guys love him, Bedsy, and he's done an incredible job. So it's awesome. It's a great time, like you said, to be a Colorado hockey fan, an Avalanche fan, Eagles fan, Utah Grizzlies, for fuck's sake. I mean, excuse my French, but like everyone's looking good, and it's a fun time for sure.
Absolutely, Scott. We are all finished with you. Talk about Joe Sakic, like I said at the beginning of the show. Episode 19, cool Joe Sakic, Trader Joe these days.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're done. And now I get to cue the outro. So here we go. Thanks for tuning in to the Front Range Hockey Show, Front Range Hockey Podcast. Don't forget to follow our show on pretty well any major podcast platform. You can follow me, CC Hawk, on YouTube. That's where we live stream this from every Wednesday night, if not Tuesday night, if not Thursday night. We have other lives.
Depending on our schedules, yeah.
Depending on our schedules, yes. And so, you can follow us, subscribe on YouTube. You can also, any podcast platform, like I was saying, Google, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we are probably on it. So Don't forget to give our Twitter account a follow as well if you haven't already done so. Hey, I started the ticker. Look at that.
You did, yeah.
Boom. At Front RNG Hockey. If you can't see it, if you're listening in audio form, at Front RNG Hockey. That's our Twitter handle. So, Scott, I know we've been over this, but if the people don't know, the people need to know. Where can they find your work?
You can find my written work at coloradohockeynow.com. Working alongside Adrian Dater. We, look to bring you the best coverage we possibly can, day in and day out. We definitely post, the most. I think actually last week, after we wrapped up this podcast, I did the math. I went back, counted all of the posts over since the season started, since January. So 5 months, maybe less than that. And I think it was, oh man, I don't even remember, but it was almost 400 stories over the last 5 months, which averages out to be, a couple a day, whatever it is, 800 a year if we got the full season. So yeah, I mean, we post a lot. If you're an Avalanche fan, you should be, subscribe to us, DM me or Dater. We'll give you a discount code. Give it to you for $20 a year. It's a pretty good deal. So you can find my other work at Off Scott Free on Twitter. I have fun there. Today was all about Tyson Jost. I like giving people shit. Come give me shit. I like interacting with Avs fans and, haters, lovers, all alike. So everyone's got different opinions. That's the great thing about Twitter. We could air those grievances and share those opinions on an online platform for free. And with complete anonymity, if you so wish. So come have fun with me.
Off Scott Free, the O at the beginning is a 0. So don't forget that. There you go. All righty. Well, my name is CC Hawkley, and you can find my written work at Full Press Hockey. Like I said, I just put out an article about the Eagles special teams this regular season, rebounding quite nicely after the departure of Ryan Tobler and the addition of Brett Clark from the Avs coaching personnel, bringing him down to join as an Eagles assistant. So check that out at www.fullpresshockey.com. We've also got an AHL Pacific Division playoffs tracker. We will be updating it after every game. And Elaine Shercliffe coming out of the AHL Central Division to cover the San Jose Barracuda and Tucson Roadrunners last night. Starting off the article strong. I appreciate her contribution to that. And then, of course, I contributed Eagles and the Ontario Reign. And, of course, I'll be covering the game tonight. So Scott's covering the Avs. I'm covering the Eagles. We got to wrap this up. So check this out and a ton of other great hockey podcasts on Full Press Coverage. A lot of other great sports pods, too. Football, basketball, baseball, fantasy, sports betting, and, of course, professional wrestling on the Full Press Radio Network at www.fullpresscoverage.com. All righty, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, that's all, folks. Thanks for listening. Episode number 19 in the books. Close her up, and we appreciate it. So, as always, stay colorful, my friends, and we will see you next week. See ya.
Bye-bye.